Initialize sequence.
Yo, what up? This is Prozac. This is Shags 2 Dope from Insane Clown Posse.
Yeah, this is Brits.
Yo, this be the one them called Tech 9.
What's up? This is Mad Child.
This is your boy Spider-Man, a.k.a. Brother Lynch.
Jared from Head PE.
Yo, what up? This is Hop.
My name is Recognize.
This is Boondock.
Yo, this Blaze You Down, homie.
Welcome to the Underground, Australia's home of underground music.
Here we go for episode 10 of The Underground Amped, and finally we have a full panel back. John Fitzgerald, how are you, sir?
Awesome, dude. I'm pretty pumped up after a big win by the Diamonds last night, which we will talk about later on. But
yes, the Diamonds, we are building a dynasty in our local basketball league. It is something that Jay is very much all over, I am sure. Jason Lee Herbert, the man who looks like he's gone one-on-one with Mike Tyson and a pack of beeves. What would you say that?
Yes, bees, definitely. How you feeling, Herb?
Jay?
I'm feeling good, man. It's good to be back behind this microphone.
That's great, Jay. And, of course, Amin Azor, the man who has been holding it down with me, the trim guy. How are you, dude?
Going good, thank you, Nate. Going good. I think, too, we'll just quickly put it out there a little bit later on in the show. We are going to be talking about Avengers, and since it has been out for about 3 weeks now, I think it's safe to be talking about spoilers.
Is that okay with you, Jay? You are going to see it for the second time today.
Yeah, later on today, yep. So if you're one of the 3 people that hasn't seen this movie... well, I guess we're not talking...
Oh, sorry, Reddit's ruined it anyway.
Damn those people on those forums.
Plenty to talk about. But, Jay, we do want to quickly point out our condolences because your run of injury seems to be going from bad to worse. The photos that were sent in the group chat of your eyes were just... So essentially, this concussion is the concussion and injury that doesn't end.
It basically is, because when Jay messaged me and said, look, man, I can't hang out with you because my eye is swollen up from an injury that happened 3 weeks ago, I was like, how is this even possible? Is this man, has he taken too many hits to the head over a course of time? But no, Jay, that was my fault. And I apologize, man, because I come out here and I said, J-Cell Herbert is lying. I didn't say it.
You implied it.
I implied it. I thought you were lying. I didn't think it was true because I thought it was a soft bump. You really do look like you have headbutted a beehive.
That's a good way to put it.
Jay, tell us what happened.
What happened was, this is, again, going back to the Harrow game, which was a few weeks ago when I got the concussion. Smack, ball, straight, pretty much went off the guy's boot, straight into my head for the little bump.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it did seem very little.
Yeah, it did at the time. But
it did at the time.
Yeah, well...
But it was very much a Norton Ford Falcon there for our boy JLH.
Oh, yeah, my bell was wrong. I must have got a little cut or something right underneath my eye, not knowing about, and... Yeah, kind of got a little infected, so...
Now, do you think this could have been avoided if you started showering?
That's something that Smokey did also bring up in the group chat, and a big shout out to Smokey, who's up there in the Northern Territory at the moment with his wife Katie. He said, Jay, you should have went to download and had that shower earlier on in the year, because if you keep clean and clean the wound, you may not have had the effect that has happened. Possibly.
See, this is the one big thing. I do actually shower every day, but for some reason Ned likes to say, oh, droogies, they smell, they stink, they don't shower, they have long hair, they don't believe in hygiene. What do you know?
Just summarise yourself there, buddy.
We never once discriminated against people with long hair there.
Yeah, but, man, come on, dude.
If anyone does want to go back and listen in real time to the effects of Jay's concussion, I strongly recommend that you go and download and re-listen to episode 6 of The Underground Amp, because I wonder if Jay even remembers. Do you remember doing episode 6, Jay?
Vaguely.
It's just normal, Mims. What are you talking about?
Oh, jeez. But look, Nettie, something that I did happen to see passed down in the notes was Jay and the supermarket. Now, for maybe those that might not know, Jay's got a very torrid history when it comes to the supermarché, as they would say in France. Because it was a couple of years ago where we had the infamous line of, "You're losing it, Tipper!" You lost it! The time where you bumped into him at the supermarket, as you would do with your friends and sometimes family, and you saw Jay buying 36 rolls of toilet paper.
Stop! Stop! What's with the over-exaggeration of the number for a start? And secondly, the only thing that would make me go, will you please stop doing that, is when Ned decides to flip out his little phone, bring up the camera gimmick, and start playing Peter Parker. I'm gonna play Snappy!
What'd you expect him to do?
What is my business, damn it?
When you're buying 36 rolls of toilet paper,
It
and
wasn't that!
how many was it then?
Mind your business! Focus on your own stuff, not
I
mine.
don't think they sell them in 36. It must have been the 42.
I wouldn't even know about that. I'm not going to Whole Sales or wherever.
Okay, we'll correct the record then. How many toilet rolls were you purchasing?
It wasn't 36, I can tell you that.
Okay, well, clearly it was a number greater than 4. Do you remember between 36 and 4 what it was?
Should we look up the photo? I'm sure it'll be there.
Buddy, look, there's 20 for $10. It's like, oh yeah, bit of a bargain. Fine. Okay, so
Last
excuse
till
me
Friday.
if I want to, not go overboard on my expendiges.
There he is, JL.
I do like to do this thing called save a bit of money.
Mr. Budget. He's been reading David Koch.
The bargain hunter himself, Jason L. Herbert. But Nettie, what's this latest supermarket adventure that we've seen with the man JLH?
You know, the thing is here with JLH, and God, I love him. He's very mad and it's very early. But I wasn't going to even bring up the 36 rolls there, Jay. So just settle down, okay? We do have photo evidence, hence the reason we took the photo. Or
Why
I
do
took
you
the
keep
photo.
saying 36? Because it just sounds funny?
All right, Jay. Then it was 20 because you were on a budget.
Okay, you bought 20 rolls of toilet paper.
I don't
and
think
one
anyone
ice
really cares about this crappy conversation, to tell you the truth.
Good pun there.
That was a terrible pun.
Jay, nice work. The point being is that since then I've barely bumped into Jay, and I think last night I found out why. Because we went to Safeway last night, or Woolies last night, and usually we go to Coles. That's where I bumped into Jay buying the 36 rolls.
And I bumped into Jay as well, and he looked like he wanted to die when he saw me.
Yeah, definitely, man. But last night I bumped into him. He looked shocked, to say one. So I'm like, oh, I see what he's doing here. He's changed supermarkets so he doesn't bump into me. And then...
No.
Then he started flipping out at me, Nim.
Hold on, whoa.
Let him finish his story. Keep going, Eddie.
He started flipping out at me because in our group chat, we made a little joke, and jokes are jokes. And then he's like, you and Nim have taken it too far!
Whoa. Okay,
Oh, here's the clarification.
here we go.
This will be good. So, are you on a budget?
No, I'm not on a... Okay, firstly, no, I'm not on a budget. 2, I only went to Safeway or Woolies or whatever you want to call it because it's closer to where I live.
They sell bigger rolls of toilet paper. That's what it is.
It's actually,
I don't know, it didn't go down that far.
It's actually probably the same distance because, Jay, I did live a street down from you. So regardless of which way you're going, it's not exactly saving 7 hours.
Yeah, but he's thrifty, remember?
Yeah, anything to get a bargain.
Fuel in the gas tank, Jimmy.
He is a man. Like you said, Koshy would be all over
Koch should
Jay.
be all over this.
Anything to get a bargain. 3, if you look up the actual definition of a flip out, is usually yelling, screaming, cursing, some jackass
'cause you
flailing
never do
their
that.
arms around. I deal with that on a daily basis with some of the drunks. I say, no, you've had enough, get out of here. I just spoke to you normally.
The only thing that differs between your flip out definition and the actual flip out that you do is you never move your arm.
Well, how about I just start? Yeah, all right, I'll start doing that. You can't see me doing this, but I'm flailing my arms around the studio like a retard. There you go.
He's on fire today.
But
Bang, bang, bang.
I just spoke to you very softly and said, look, dude, this is how it is.
You would
Da-da-da-da-da.
never speak soft.
That's not a flip out. A flip out is, you stupid little bastard, I'm gonna kick your ass for that. That's a flip out.
Oh my
Those
goodness.
levels are just going right through the roof.
He's bottling all this up, I reckon.
This is what happens when he's not on the show for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know.
I love this. This is the greatest thing ever.
That is a flip out.
Okay, so I'm going to bring
So
in my
now
12...
do you know the difference between the two?
Oh, thank you, Jay. And once
Good.
again, with these little hand
Yeah, I
motions
know.
here that nobody can see.
Because it's radio. Yes, I know. I'm not a retard.
Thanks for clarifying the story, though.
I will have to bring in my 12-year-old son who can say, he goes, wow, Herbs was pretty mad there at your dad. I'm like, oh, don't worry about him. He's okay. But
It's actually quite funny too, because I'm actually quite surprised that your children aren't surprised that their friends don't abuse them so much, purely due to the fact that they probably say, oh, this must be what good mates do.
What a role model.
So we take that on board, Jay, and well done, and we'll put a stamp on that. We'll move on, because we do have some other stuff to talk about here on AMP this week. We got a chat with Mick Foley coming up a little bit later on, Nettie, but...
and God, I hope Mick does not listen to that first 15 minutes of her flipping out. Would you say that was safe to say that was flipping out, Jay?
great time, I think, to segue into the Avengers, because we saw from Thanos' behaviour, or Thanos, however you would like to pronounce it, regardless of where you live. One thing that we both took out when we left the Avengers, Nettie, from the first time we watched it, because I too have watched it for the second time. Now, it is, like you said, you do pick up on some little things the second time round, but we did mention that if Jay had the Infinity Gauntlet, my God, would we be turned into dust.
Oh my goodness, man. He'd be like, hey, Tepper. Boom. And
Snap my little finger, gimmick.
oh, Tepper's dead.
So that's okay, is it? But
Oh, he's laughing at that. So
Yeah.
it's okay to
That's
make
all right.
jokes about beating up your best friend.
See,
And I
this,
say best loosely.
hang on. This is the thing, like, especially with the Infinity Gauntlet and all that.
Which you can get in the video game of Fortnite too for a limited time. Quite cool.
Well, there you go. Didn't know that. Isn't the whole concept of it like once the fingers are snapped, it's like completely randomized or whatever? Like I don't read the comics or anything like that, so I'm not going too deep into the whole mythos of the. And yeah, like I don't know the full aspects of it, but from what I've seen, it's like it's just it's randomized. There's no. Well, I'm sick of this. Click gone.
he's looked into it, obviously.
I was about to say, and not only that, too, you are right, it is a fictional movie. Like, Thanos isn't actually a real human being.
You might run into him at Safeway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, then you'll really know how to pick a battle, Jay.
Hey, one of the cool things though, like, and we did bring this up when we were watching the Avengers. Like, this is literally 10 years that have built up to this one moment, and we left the cinema just wanting more, purely because there are a lot of unanswered questions. And as Jay says, maybe there are some people that don't read the comics and have only grown up with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but I think it was pretty clever on Marvel's part to sort of make us wanting more.
Yeah, it definitely was, man, but also very frustrating at the same time for people like me that are just, the older I get, the more impatient I get. I left there going, man, I loved that movie, but I hated the ending. So that was what happened with me, because now I have to wait another year to find out what the hell happened. And Herbs, we weren't covering this last week. I'm not sure if you listened to the show, but me and him thought maybe that was the reason you were a little bit moody afterwards. Did you get a little emotional?
Yeah,
a lot of people did, Jay.
A lot of people did, yeah. Like, there was a lot of things that, you were not expecting to happen, like certain characters sort of fading away and whatever, especially, like, the big one again. If you haven't seen it, spoiler alert.
That's right.
Yeah, like, Spidey and Groot sort of got a lot of people, especially because, Tom Holland's the new Spider-Man, you into the MCU, and his last completely improvised line, which turned out to be as well. So, yeah, that got a lot of people.
It really was an epic movie. Like, it was one of the ones where, it lived up to the hype, because I really, really feel for anyone that's a DC movies fan, because after seeing the Avengers Infinity War, there is really no hope for any successful Justice League franchise now. Like, we saw that, like, they're just on a different level to DC, aren't they?
Well, yeah and no. I actually really rated that Justice League movie. I thought it was great. It's just sort of each to their own there. But I agree with what you're saying. It was a much bigger movie, and they are doing a lot better things. But I still rated the Justice League. You boys didn't know, yeah? Or Johnny probably didn't even watch it.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, I thought Justice League was a pretty decent movie.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. The Justice League, you can't... It's pretty unfair to compare the Justice League movie to the Avengers ones, because let's look at the first Avengers movie back in 2012. That had 4 years' worth of build.
Yeah.
You had the Marvel Cinematic Universe just beginning with Iron Man in 2008, and then the Hulk, and then Thor, and then Captain America. It was all set up within a 4-year base. Whereas with the DC extended cinematic universe or whatever, it was just kind of Batman versus Superman. Yep, let's set this up. Quick, cram in Wonder Woman in there too. And what else are we going to do? Who cares? Just put them all in together and bring in Man of Steel. Righto, here we go. In the span of 3 months, here we go. Justice League. Have a look at it. Sorry about Suicide Squad as well.
But, like, having said that too, I thought Suicide Squad was one of the best movies I've seen in a while. So, I don't know, man. I don't like to get into that DC versus Marvel sort of thing and all the whatever's carrying on. But you're probably right. It was definitely the bigger movie, and Marvel definitely doing bigger things. And Batman versus Superman's one of the worst movies I've ever seen, I
Yes.
think. But did you watch it?
I tried.
I tried.
It was shocking.
Just goes to show, take time with things, and good things come to those who wait.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Could you imagine if Infinity War came out like a day after Iron Man.
Very true. That's a very good point. But is there anything else you wanted to cover on the Avengers side of things there, boys?
I'm just looking forward to whatever Part 4 is called, and also looking forward to seeing what Ant-Man's been doing.
Oh, yeah, same. So it's Ant-Man and the Wasp, is it? Is that what it...
Yeah, that's the next one to come out.
You look like you've been stung by a wasp, Jack.
Yeah, the Ant-Man and the Wasp been at him.
Yeah, so big things to come, but we're going to switch things up here, guys. I'm going to jump into the NBA playoffs. And before we do that, though, Johnny, we are trying to build a dynasty in our local winter competition, my friends.
Yes.
Big basketball fans right here. I've got about 3 loves in life. Basketball, Jay,
Basketball.
and basketball. That is it. But yeah, Johnny and I play in a local league. We want to get a chip this year, and he is also helping me out coach both Brody and Liv's team. And last night, boys, did we have a win with the girls? Damn, it was
Did we have a win? What was the final score, Natty? It was like 50 to 10 it was, and like these girls absolutely ripped it up. It was obviously good coaching, but
yeah.
The Diamonds, man, the Diamonds get on them for the chip this year. They are looking solid.
They're definitely a solid team here, Nim, and the great thing about this is the only reason they scored the 10 points is because the referee made us
drop the kids back.
Make us drop the kids back after telling them to bring them forward, and basically I think it would have been a 50-4 maybe score.
They probably wouldn't even have scored if that didn't happen, because we were trying to set up a little defense. They thought it was like a zone defense, but it was just our way to get the girls to come back and then find their players. But no, we have to move them up, and then of course we moved them up closer, and they stole the ball before they even got past halfway.
And that really didn't work out well for the refs there, but that's how it's done, Mr. Nim. That's it. So that's what we're aiming for, guys. A few months down the track, we want a Zombies championship, a Rockets championship, and a Diamonds championship. That's the goal. We don't muck around here. We'll see how we go.
Do you reckon that, now that we're seeing so many more Australians in the NBA and even in the WNBA too, because let's not forget, we've got some very talented female basketballers too.
Yeah.
I reckon, because everyone always talks about how big soccer is, but I haven't seen any big crowds at soccer games aside from the finals. Do you reckon that we could be seeing basketball taking over as one of the biggest sports in Australia? Because I reckon it's on its way. I honestly, legitimately think that.
Yeah, it's funny that you bring that up. We were talking about that last week, and John, I would really love your input on this. I totally agree with you, Nim. I think AFL, definitely around where we are, will always be number one.
It will always be king.
And even though I'm not a huge AFL fan, you've got to respect it because it's like our own thing. Overseas people are like, what the hell even is it? But it's similar to NFL, I guess. They don't really play that anywhere else, do they?
Just in London during the season, but that's it. I definitely agree. I think basketball's on the way up in a big way. You can even see, we're running some free clinics at the moment on Sundays. There's 30 kids rocking up every week, and we would have tried something similar 4 years ago and no one was there. They've gone back, they've turned basketball into a summer sport, so it's not competing with footy, at least in local areas, which is getting the numbers up. And that's why they've put so much money and time into the NBL competition. That thing was about to fall over and die 3 seasons ago. You remember Nettie?
It's not the first time we've seen a resurgence fall away, but it looks like they have done it pretty well this time around.
Amazingly, Andrew Gaze came out and said, let's fold the league for 2 seasons. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
and it was just, it's like, what are you doing, dude?
Yeah, it's like as big a thing as what Gaze did for the NBL, you've got to think that was an insane comment. If that had have happened, I think basketball would be dead now. But instead, it's really turned around, and we're going into the 2019 season. We've got all these rookies coming over that played from St Mary's and whatnot in the college league. It is going to be the biggest season yet.
And we've got Andrew Bogut coming to play for the Kings. That's going to be massive for the sport. Plus, we're going to have another Melbourne team joining in 2019 or 2020, whatever that is.
We're seeing the Souths come back.
Well, I would love it if the South come back, but I think I'll be sticking with United at the moment because rumour has it it's going to be the Essendon Football Club.
Yeah, that was one of the rumours. Before United came in, they were going to make an Eastern Suburbs team. I think I might have told you, Nandy, with Dandenong and Knox and a few of those comps were going to come together, so they might do that again.
I think that'd be an excellent idea.
Yeah, I think so too, but then it's like, well, is Melbourne United now Melbourne divided or, not United anymore?
Melbourne not so united.
Yeah, but
they spent so much time trying to bring all of the former Melbourne clubs, the fan base, together. And it's actually quite funny too, because having done a lot of work on a Melbourne sports-based radio station, there are still some Tiger supporters that are just like, I don't care what anyone says, I'm not supporting. And it's seriously it's been 5 years.
It would be pretty hard though, a team like that's been around for so long, but they did it back then because they had to. It was necessity because all these teams are dropping out, whereas now they got to look at it as a good thing. We've got enough fans and enough money coming in, and the TV rights and everything to have another side. I think that's awesome. Imagine imagine then they get a Canberra side, another Sydney side. Like it'd be
Go back to the heyday when you've got your Tassie Devils and whatever they were.
If they keep it going, I think we're going to see basketball become a really, really big influence in Australia again.
Yeah, which is a good thing. And Nim's pointed this out last week. I don't know if you heard or not, but what's that guy's name? Larry Kesselman.
Larry Kesselman.
Yeah, he's done some great things for the sport. Like we've got the NBA coming out here next year. That is going to be amazing. Team USA, versus Australia. You had those
pre-season games. With our teams going over there and showing what we can do. Really taking some good quality sides. It's not like we're up against the Raptors.
Drop that one in there. I like it. It's a good point. And all the stars were playing as well. It wasn't just their B teams. It was their actual good teams. Like,
that's right. United almost razzed up Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, they did.
Casper
they got under
held
his
his own. Yeah, they definitely did. And I love the USA basketball. They just can't handle that Australian sort of J-Sal Herbert grit though. Sometimes they find it dirty. That's a whole other story. Like I was talking to a few guys when I was over there, and they were like, "Oh, Matty Dellavedova's dirty because he dives on every loose ball and all that sort of J-Sal Herbert athlete type thing." But it's just the way we play.
It's just the way we go. That's what got him there.
Definitely.
Why would he stop?
But look, you're right, and the thing that I've loved, it's funny that you do mention, a bit of league expansion, because as a man that's got a lot of relatives to live in Canberra, if the Cannons came back, that would probably be the biggest thing to happen to that city since Parliament House getting built.
I think they play in the Seabull comp, I reckon, against the Miners. Or they were at one point, so they're still floating around, but I don't think they're obviously not as big as they used to be. But
I think it'd be great if they came back, really, because you got the AIS there too. So maybe that could be a pathway for kids who play there to
the centre of excellence kids.
Yeah,
who will get a gig, and they're all massive, 18 and 6'8". I've seen them play once. It's scary.
Oh wow.
But no, look, basketball's going from strength to strength. And look, just quickly on the NBA playoffs, because do you think, while it would have been great, and I know I always have a couple of shots at the Toronto Raptors, there's actually a really funny meme going around. I don't know if you've seen it, boys. It's got, a scene from Jurassic Park where it's got Toronto during regular season, and then it's got, a scene from the old TV show Dinosaurs.
Oh, I remember that.
That's a great
Toronto
TV show.
During the final.
Well, funnily enough, Dwayne Casey got sacked this morning.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, so he was going to get Coach of the Year, and now he's been shown the door.
Yeah. Well, they just don't perform in the playoffs. It's crazy. So that brings me to what I was saying last week. I don't know if you guys remember this, but I'm like, look at the Utah Jazz go. They could be going 3-1. They're going home. They play well at home. Bam, they just get straight sets out. They go after that one amazing win. So I think Houston took that 4-1.
Basically, they did, and they basically killed them in every other game. That first game was awesome, and then Houston just decided to start playing, and then they flogged them at home, and off it went.
Putting aside what we would like to see and what we actually think will happen, Celtics, Cavs, and Rockets, Warriors. Now, the Rockets actually have been a very, very consistent team this season, but let's face it, you go up against the Warriors in finals, and this is, I think, their fourth consecutive year of making it to the conference finals. I'll look up those stats a little bit later on. But if you were the Houston Rockets, you've got to be a little bit intimidated, wouldn't you? That would be for any footy heads out there, that would be say, getting into the grand final and you're up against Hawthorn when you're St Kilda, for example, or something like that. Do you reckon that there's a bit of a scare factor there for the Rockets in the sense that the Warriors have that, yep, this is our yard, guys. Welcome. Good to have you on board for at least 3 games.
Most definitely, but I want to call a J-Sal Herbert type thing out here. I called it! Because Fitzy, if you rewind back to whatever it was, we said it's going to be Houston and Golden State. I think both of us said Houston. I think we were going Houston. And you other two, Nim and Herb, went with Golden State. And I think you might be right. I don't know. But Cleveland's going to get through in the East.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think they'll beat Boston. Boston have done amazing things, though, Jay.
They have.
Well, didn't they finish second this? I actually think that, talking about flipping the deck, but I actually think Boston might get it through, because we saw, LeBron has just been phenomenal, but aside from LeBron, who else in the Cavs sort of steps up and can really deliver when they need to?
Well, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's why they did all those trades mid-season to get Rodney Hood and all those Jordan Clarkson, all those really good role players. But, I mean, that's what happened to Toronto. You go up against the best player in the world and you're the number 1 seed, but it doesn't matter in playoffs. So,
yeah,
I think LeBron will probably kill it against Boston, but like Nims is saying, it'll come down to who else can step up to fill those gaps. But it should be they should match up pretty well, I reckon, because Boston's got a quick offense. They shoot a lot of points, and obviously Cleveland's got LeBron, so I think it'll be a good series.
I just want to point this out too. This is pretty amazing right here too. Boston Herbs, I know you're not very excited about basketball. You've gone into your little shell thinking you're idiots. I love American football. But your team, the Boston Celtics, have overachieved if any team has.
Yeah, I would agree.
Gordon Hayward out game 1. Kyrie Irving done for the season. Is there someone else as well, or is it just those two?
I think they're the two main ones. Then you get Jason Tatum stepped up, Jaylen Brown stepped up. Like they're a great team to watch.
And I think a lot of it comes down to their great coach as well. What's his name?
Brad Stevens, something I want to say.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm looking at Herbs. He wouldn't know, but
the Tony Sleep type.
Yeah.
Like,
shout out to Tony Sleep. He'll probably be listening to this. But
great man. He's a poor man's Tony Sleep, the Boston coach, but he's done enough to get him through. I'm hoping Boston beat Cleveland. I'm going to go out and say it, Jay.
Yeah.
I would definitely like to sort of see that too. But also, you can't take anything away. I wonder if LeBron was watching the Celtics 76ers series thinking, these could be my future teammates here.
Maybe, and I'll tell you this, poor old Philadelphia, I was going for them big time.
Yeah.
And Ben Simmons, really, he lost a couple of the games there for them, which was just, they just had rookie errors, like bad turnovers and things like this. A couple of seasons down the track, that won't be happening.
Yeah, I agree.
Still think that they're the team of the future. They'll be
very much so, man.
number 1, number 2 seed next season.
Yeah, I think so. And that's why my controversial opinion is they don't need LeBron. I think they just need to keep that same team together. I mean, Fultz didn't play a full season. They've still got another preseason together. You know, Embiid's only just coming back to full health as well. I mean, I reckon adding LeBron to that mix would just ruin the chemistry. That's my opinion.
I like that opinion.
I reckon they need to keep it as it is and just let them grow, which they don't do in the NBA that much anymore. It's just like, let's just sign some veterans, let's sign some stars, and we'll get a championship that way.
I hate the Cleveland approach.
Yeah.
It's like, this team's not working. Let's get rid of everybody.
Yeah.
You know,
get your
build the team together.
Which is why we all get on Boston, because that's what they have done. And even Toronto, to some extent, has done the same. They just can't handle finals. But, they haven't gone out to buy a championship to, put it one way. But that's why I reckon the 76ers just need to hit the gym and just build on what they've got, because it's a great team. It's great chemistry. They just need a bit more experience, and they'll be right up there.
Yeah, I really like that opinion. That's a great basketballer's opinion right there.
100% there. And just quickly, too, I know I seem to be like the Toronto Raptors' biggest hater, but I just love. Now there is a local betting company in Australia, the TAB, that have like a set of online ads, and Chris Bosh is actually the star of those ads, and they are some of the funniest ads you'll ever see. Like, I always thought that Chris Bosh was a bit of a douchebag, and like, I'm probably not the only person that would say that. I've actually come around to it because he does have a pretty wicked sense of humour and can, as we like to say in Australia, take the piss out of himself a little bit. So
bust the balls.
So it's actually pretty funny to see Chris Bosh, in all these funny ads, especially considering the fact where he used to be and where he is now.
Yeah, most definitely, man. But hey, we are running out of time. We're going to jump into the House of Hardcore things real quick before we call it a day. We've got plenty to talk about next week because we didn't get through it all. Mick Foley, Nims, really quickly, man. We were talking about this last week. I've discovered he is, I always loved Mick Foley, but after talking to him, finding out he's a big Christmas guy, man. He loves Santa Claus. I think this is great. He's a pro wrestler, 52 years old, whatever, and he's a big ambassador for the Man in Red, which I think is great. We are about to jump into part 2 of this special 2-part edition, Nim. I have heard it. It's a great little catch-up here with Foley. You want to tease it a little?
Yeah, hell yeah. We originally, this House of Hardcore is coming to Australia, and I strongly recommend that you do check out their website, houseofhardcore.net, or you can visit Mick Foley's site, realmickfoley.com. And on the topic of his Santa escapades, he actually put out a movie back in 2014 called I Am Santa Claus, which I haven't personally watched myself, but it's a really fascinating insight to what people do to become the Man in Red. But House of Hardcore goes to Adelaide July 12th, Melbourne July 13th, 14th in Sydney, and Queensland July 15th. It's actually pretty funny, Nettie, because I actually went and shared on the Twitter machine the first entry that we did, and someone actually got in touch with just like another Aussie, just like, hey man, when are they coming to Queensland? I'm like, dude, does no one go to the website? Houseofhardcore.net to check it out and to grab the tickets, or the undergroundaustralia.com if you'd like to see it out. But I did want to talk to Mick about wrestling, but we did venture back to his live show, which is fair enough. I mean, the man's a hustler.
He is, man. So I just saw his Adelaide show's already sold out, man, and it's still a month or two away.
Yeah, very much so. But yeah, there's some very big names coming down. If you're a fan of the Attitude Era, you can check it out. Tommy Dreamer is bringing down the show with some members of the Spirit Squad, Billy Gunn, and some other names as well. But for those that might remember our old wrestling podcast, that podcast gimmick, if you go to that Facebook page, Lucha Underground Season 4 has released their trailer, and there are some big names that are coming to the temple, one of whom is Tommy Dreamer himself, so that's pretty cool to see him at Lucha Underground, and a guy who was in the WWE that we might have forgotten because he really didn't do much, but remember Jack Swagger, Nettie?
Is he out of the WWE now?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. Jay, can you please do me a Jack Swagger impersation? I don't know if you've heard this, Nims.
No.
Yeah, we've lost him.
We have lost him.
The man always delivers. We the people, idiot. But yeah, so Jack Swagger will be there as well. Check out the trailer. It's on that podcast gimmicks Facebook page. But yeah, Mick Foley, great chat. I really wish that we had a bit more time with him. But like you, Nettie, I think literally we caught him as he was leaving his hotel room. So
yeah, busy man, and
he's definitely continuing that hustle.
Oh, he is, man, and I've got nothing but love for Mick Foley after listening to both of these. There's some great things in there. He mentions, I think Jay would get along with a couple of these WWE superstars after listening to yours. He mentions they're a little grumpy, and I think that's great. I think you and me will be hanging out with Mick, and we'll send Jay over there with the ones that might not be so friendly.
Exactly.
So yeah, stick around for that. That is coming up next. Be sure to scoop up those tickets real quickly. We'll be back next week. Boondocks is returning with the Turncoat Dirty EP, and I'll be chatting with him. So we're keeping these things moving along nicely. Plus, we've got a bunch more to get through.
Mick Foley up next.
Hello, everybody. This is Burton C. Bell of Fear Factory, and you are listening to The Underground.
Now, Tommy Dreamer's House of Hardcore Tour returns to Australia this July, bringing a ton of superstars of professional wrestling to Brisbane, Adelaide, Perth, Sydney, and right here in Melbourne. And one of the many superstars to make that long plane journey down under is the hardcore legend himself, Mick Foley. Mick, great to have you on the show.
Yeah, thank you, and I can attest it's a long journey.
Now, Mick, this is going to be an absolutely fantastic show. Tommy Dreamer, Bubba Ray Dudley, Angelina Love and Velvet Sky, the Beautiful People, Joey Mercury, the Spirit Squad, Billy Gunn. It's almost like a who's who of stars. How does that locker room all mix together?
Oh, we all get along pretty good, I guess. It's like being in like animals in the wild that don't get together, don't get along. They kind of avoid each other. If we're in an enclosed atmosphere, like a locker room, somebody can get under your skin a little bit. Billy Gunn, he's grouchy. Bubba Ray, grouchy. But I'm easygoing. Tommy's easygoing. Joey's a good guy. Spirit Squad, they're good to raise the spirit, I guess we'll say. We should all coexist fairly well until it gets in the ring, of course.
Well, that's what we like to hear. One thing that is also pretty cool to see that's coming up on the House of Hardcore Tour, NWA World's Heavyweight Champion Nick Aldis, a.k.a. Magnus from TNA Wrestling. He'll be coming down as well. Now, you're a pretty old-school wrestling fan, Mick. What do you think about what Billy Corgan's been doing with the NWA and the 10 pounds of gold? Because it's kind of cool that in 2018, that belt is still kind of relevant.
Yeah, it is. It's funny you mentioned Billy. I was just Smashing Pumpkins came on the air today. I'm driving doing the one-man show, which I'll also be bringing to Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure if did you know about that?
Yeah, we certainly did. We're all looking forward to the 20 Years of Hell tour, and I don't know why you're subjecting us to Al Snow, though.
Yeah, he was foisted upon me. Not my doing. No, Al's going to be great. He's got some great stories. It'll be a great night of storytelling and some laughs, a few tears. But anyway, I was mentioning that I was like, I've got a 5-page handwritten letter from Billy Corgan from 2000, before I'd even met him. He was writing and kind of thanking me for some inspiration he found in the characters I portrayed. So, yeah, it's a pretty cool thing. And who knew? I was even saying, this is one of the biggest hits was on the air. I was like, who would have guessed that Billy be, so deeply involved in professional wrestling? But he loves it. He got a great mind for it. And I really hope, his group is successful.
Yeah, fingers crossed. It's been getting some pretty good traction when you look at the social media and stuff like that. And on the topic of social media, we're sort of seeing, especially with tours like this, like you're doing for, not just the House of Hardcore tour, but the stand-up that you are doing as well. Direct fan access to you has just gotten easier and easier in the business. Now, what's your stance on it? Because I know, especially since you've got your kids now, Noel and Dewey, they're on the social medias as well, and the fact that they're able to get instant fan reaction come straight to their phone, straight to their inbox. Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, it's a little bit of both. I just want to correct you. We do not refer to my show as stand-up.
Yep.
Because when I came to Australia 5 years ago, Brendan Burns, expat from Oz, said, he goes, mate, you know what I think the problem is? There's been so many bad crossovers. People expect you to show up in a bow tie telling one-liners. So it's a storytelling show. It is a one-man show. I mean, I don't tell jokes. I tell stories, and it's specifically about the 20-year anniversary of Hell in a Cell.
Yep.
If people are wondering, it's I'm going to far exceed your expectations, and we expect tickets to be gone. Everywhere except Perth is a little slow, and Hobart, Tasmania is a little slow, but the other ones are really moving along, and I think they're all going to go eventually. So I have to ask people to put a little faith in me that I will. I'm not coming all the way there to not be good. I don't know what I can say on TV. Right? As far as the social media, yeah, it's a little bit of both. You know, I mean, in a way, it was nice when people weren't so reachable. You know, I think within a couple of tweets, it's like people think they can, they can say whatever they like. You know, respect has kind of got out the window.
Yeah.
Especially in the States, they kind of follow the president's lead and figure, why be hospitable when the guy at the top is not. And I noticed a definite influx of angry tweeters. Gloves are off, and it's like, so I had to put the filters on. Gloves came off, filters came on. So people don't have the unrestricted access that they used to. I just didn't want to be told 100 times a day that I wasn't relevant anymore by people who are tweeting me to tell me I'm not relevant. And also people who think they know how wrestling works actually blamed me for the Raw show when I was the general manager. So I had to put the brakes on there a little bit. And besides my daughter, I had people nice enough to tag a father in when they want to say bad things about my daughter.
Oh, you gotta love that.
Thoughtful. It is a good and the bad, and the good is you couldn't do these type of tours without having that direct access to people, and they should be able to respond right away and say if they liked it or if they didn't. Hopefully they do. And it's it is what it is. The days when I could just walk out carrying a book for promotion are over, and you got to work it a little bit harder.
Yeah. Look, Mick, speaking of books, you've actually got quite a body of work when it comes to not just fiction but non-fiction, your autobiographies, your children's books, everything like that. The last book you put out was last year. You've just seemed to be spinning so many plates. When do you get a chance to maybe sort of sit down and craft your one-man show, craft your authoring, all of these things, and at the same time too, be a full-time dad?
Yeah, man. It's not enough hours in the day, certainly not today. Who knew that in a town like Spokane, Washington, there would be 3 different hotels called the Davenport? And so I tried to check into all 3. Like, no, that's the one down this half a mile away. It's frustrating. And I just I find the time I write in like great bursts of energy. I might go a while without writing anything, and then I'm at it for 3 straight months, and then I get inspired and I think of things. I have little ideas, and I'm like, with this, like, wait a second, I was stopped in Amsterdam and questioned for 20 minutes by security because I had gray and blue teeth. And they were like, why would you have decaying teeth? I'm like, well, they're kind of a souvenir. Like, a souvenir of what? I was like, oh, the time. And like, what? And I was like, can you just Google me? And then I type in the words Mick Foley and Hell in a Cell. And the security agent says, oh, wow, whoa, that's okay, go ahead. And like, this is completely ridiculous. You're being held up in international security because of the color of your teeth. Like, I don't know. To this day, Jay Lethal is like, I was so bizarre. I thought they were going to put you in prison or something, So, it's hectic, but I do find the time. And what was frustrating when I was going out, and we did label it as stand-up comedy for a while. And people were like, I don't see that. I'd be like, did you read my books? Like, at least you want it. Yeah. Did you laugh? Yes. Did you laugh out loud? Oh, yeah, out loud. I was like, then why can't you picture me doing the same thing on stage where it's easier to be funny than it is with a printed word? You can add emphasis and subtlety and all these things. Like, it takes a while. You got to work at it, It's like constant repetition. And even when I do these shows and we're selling out shows left and right, people are always like really surprised. Like, the bar is low, so on one hand it's like nice to just be able to leap over that bar of limited expectations, but at this point I think people should expect that it's going to be good because I've been putting out some good stuff for many years. Sorry to go on a tirade here. I'm bad, need to sleep, and I've got to go to my show here in about 2 minutes, so
Well, I'll tell
you have another question too.
Yeah, I do have one last question for you. You did mention this is the 20-year anniversary of Hell in a Cell. Now, one of the overlooked classics from King of the Ring 1998 was, of course, the 6-star tag team classic between Scott Taylor and Brian Christopher in Too Much, defeating Al Snow and Head with Jerry Lawler as the special guest referee. But no, in all seriousness, the Hell in a Cell...
I have no recollection of that.
But the Hell in a Cell, it keeps coming up. This is something that has been linked to your career. When people think Hell in a Cell 1998, they don't think Ken Shamrock winning the title. They don't think Austin versus Kane in a first blood match. They think of you and The Undertaker. What's it like having that huge shadow cast upon you every time you go, every interview you do?
Yeah, I fought it and resented it for a long time. And then at a certain point, you come to appreciate it. I mean, that's kind of part of what the show and the arc is about. You know, it was like I created a monster. And then you realize, wait a second, like half of the people who were asking me about this match weren't even born when it happened. You know, there was no, the internet was in its infancy. There was no YouTube. There was no WWE network. You know, I thought I had like a 1-year shelf life. And here I am 20 years later in sweatpants, a flannel shirt, you know, and I'm able to make a living, you know, doing something I love. Like, I'm not resorting to this. I love it, you know. It's like being in the ring without getting hurt. Mm-hmm. You get that instantaneous feedback. It's like the closest thing I've ever had to that rush I would get when I had a big match. So, I have learned to appreciate it, and there are 3 key events. I can't hit on them here. Mm-hmm. 3 key events that changed my view on that, and I will tell you there's some closure there, and it's really been a lot of fun. We've had 8 shows, got 12 more in the U.S., just 20 shows total in North America. Then we take it to Australia, and that's it. So it's a very limited run.
Well, Mick, look, it's when that actually happened, I was in the 8th grade, and the mere fact that we're here now talking about it is such a huge thrill. So I hope that you know that there's a generation out there that were born around the time that still enjoy not just that one pay-per-view, but your entire body of work, be it in the ring, in front of the microphone, or even in print. And we really, really appreciate you taking some time out to chat to us here at the Underground Australia. And we look forward to seeing you here in July.
Yeah, and if people want to look for tickets for both our House of Hardcore or my events, just go to realmickfoley.com and click on events.
And make sure you follow Mick on the Twitter machine as well, at @realmickfoley. Mick, it's been an absolute pleasure. We'll see you soon when you're in Australia.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot.